business mentorship, Keepin It Real, where we introduce corporate leaders who have taken the leap to business owner and participate with their great idea in our guest blog found on shareyourstories.online. Our guest joins us from Chicago, Illinois. Amy Pons has a mission with a focus on social impact, helping women unlock their own brand of magic. Let's find out why this Master Certified Life Coach made the transition from a 20-year marketing career in corporate America to start her own business. It is my pleasure to introduce and welcome Amy Pons.
Thanks, Trish.
You know, I'm so thrilled that you're joining me today because we have some similarities with the, 20-year marketing background. So with 20-year career in marketing, you're obviously creative. And I love your tagline, Ignite Your Flame. What was the inspiration for the brand?
I love the connection that you make between creation as a marketer. There was a time when I exited, there was a corporate wound. So shall I say, around how I was feeling about marketing for myself. And, there was a one last straw moment I had in the corporate world as an executive. I was getting all the money, the acclaim, the titles. A month before I left, I won a Stock Excellence Award for performance. I'll put that in quotes, performance. And I was being told every day by my boss I wasn't good enough.
Oh.
And so that, I would say that a lot of folks are like, how or why or what? Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of the catalyst. And while I'm not grateful for the abuse or like the mental turmoil it took on me toward the end, I am grateful that my and whoever you ladder up to, whoever you think is on the higher plane, spirit, God, source, creator, whomever, universe, I'm so grateful that the team that is out there guiding me to my highest self is what knew it was going to be needed to be something pretty extreme for me to be like, all right, let's go. And so the creation aspect of it, though, back to your point, I knew I wanted to keep creating. I just didn't know what that maybe looked like. And beautifully, what I've learned over the past year since I exited and my business, Unlock the Magic, Ignite Your Flame, has been up and running for a year now. It's so exciting. It's all about returning, not finding, because it's always been there, returning to your unique magic, your new unique flame, your unique brilliance, your soul essence, any of those things. I actually heard a woman this week that we're going to be working together. She was like, I have a fire in my belly. Yes, that is what inspired Ignite Your Flame, because oftentimes, and I'll speak for myself, and this is really what resonates for women out there, after 20 years of being a corporate executive, I couldn't really express that fire in my belly without putting a target on my back. I was told many times, this is the Fortune 200. This is not an activist. This is platform. This is not a nonprofit. Like, keep your beliefs, keep your fire, keep your unique brilliance to yourself.
Right.
I didn't want that anymore. And so I actually made a post this week. I'm like, I didn't leave corporate because it sucked. I left corporate to find her being the flame within me that had been, she was still lit, but she was quite
dim.
Yes. And so that inspired me. Shoot, sorry about that.
That's okay.
That inspired me to call my business Unlock the Magic. Unlock, again, not find, because every one of us, especially, I'm not saying that men don't have their flames dimmed as well, but I find that because by and large, 100 years ago, the workplace was designed by a group of mid-aged white men, for the benefit of white men, that has transpired to this day still. And the systems that are in place today are still operating the way that they were designed, which are not necessarily in place to ignite the flames of women and people of color in the workplace. And so when we think about, and I won't go too far away from your question, but the last thing I'll say on this, especially with women in the workplace, is we have these really incredible life cycles deep within us in our womb space that come to us in joy, in pain, in suffering, in all kinds of different really, I don't want to call them ailments, because the womb space is the life force vitality of every person who can or wants to procreate. But what I mean by this is, when you get into the workplace, and because they weren't designed with us in mind, a lot of where our fire, our magic, our flame comes from is from deep within that vitality and life force within our womb space. That is where we are literally magic on legs. And when we think about, we can't, not that we can't, we haven't been told it's okay to take a day off if you're having really bad menstrual cramps, or your endometriosis is rearing its head, or your fibroids are throbbing, or you did have a miscarriage and you get leave for that, or you get a hysterectomy and of course you get time off for surgery, but like the energetic space of where that uterus used to live is still there.
Sure.
And then don't get me started on menopause and perimenopause. So imagine if our unique magic, our flames could be fanned the entire life cycle of being a woman in the workplace, and we could say the things that are really on our hearts or in our bodies, like, I don't feel well today.
Right.
And imagine how freeing and liberating that can be. So I have clearly a broad spectrum of focuses, but it's all back to, I guide you to find the fire in your belly. I find it, refind it,
Nurture it.
unlock it, nurture it, fan it, amplify it.
Mm-hmm.
It's always there. It's always been there. You might not feel it. We take it and we fan it and we make it really, really big. And that doesn't mean you have to leave corporate too. It just means that you get to feel it and then navigate your own chart, not feeling beholden to one or the other.
Sure. So tell me, who's your ideal client? Do you find that your ideal client is a woman who's an entrepreneur, or is it a woman who is in some sort of executive management leadership role? Or both?
All both. So it's really fascinating, because I also posted about this recently. I'm not a huge fan of niching down. I do understand, again, because I was in corporate marketing for 20 years, that if you're talking to everybody, you're not talking to anybody. I get all of that. And we're creating the new way to do business, which in my mind is through the connection and that unique brilliance. So one size does not fit all, which is a big part of what we did in corporate marketing. I'll speak for my own self. We would just do this campaign to millions of people, expecting it to land for everyone. So when I think about my ideal client, first and foremost, it is a woman, and I serve all 4 big generations right now in the workplace.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's why I don't stick it to like one generation. So here's who it is. It's the woman who feels there is something missing. That just a short time ago, she was moving and grooving. She would get up every day, do her thing, go to work, feed the pups, take care of it, whatever it is. Everything was just fine. Everything was just fine. And it was safe and familiar and it was great. There is something now. She's like, what is that? Why do I have a deep something in me that something might be missing? I'm doing the exact same things. Nothing has changed.
Sure.
Well, I would offer, and she is starting to awaken that flame that may have been dimmed. Some of it happens with age. Some of it happens with different circumstance. And actually, all of us on this planet right now did have an awakened moment with the pandemic.
I agree.
That gave us a moment to pause and think and go inward. And that might be coming up for you now, 2 years later. It'd be like, oh, that awakened something, and I didn't realize it was there until now. So I would tell you, my ideal client is the woman who feels there's just something. There's something. And I go in, I guide to pull that thread to see what it is, where it's coming from, and then also, what do you want to do with it? Because it doesn't mean blowing up your whole life.
Sure.
It's just bearing witness to the energy that's beautifully coming in now.
Right.
That's all it is. So I would tell you I work with any woman, any woman that is feeling that. And when I say that, so many women are awakening to that right now.
For
And they're
sure.
like, it feels pinchy. It feels like, why? I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed in this life. Why do I feel unsatisfied?
Sure.
We go there, and we go there in a place where you don't have to do anything about it. We necessarily, unless you want to, but we explore in a safe container to be
Right.
like, let's pull those threads. Let's see what comes up.
Sure.
That's what it is. That's who it is.
So, are you finding, to your point, that there seems to be a recalibrating of business models, a recalibrating of personal GPS? You know, everybody's sitting back, they've taken the deep breath, they've done the exhale, and now they're saying, okay, what's next? Because our world, to your point, was actually turned upside down. I mean, the way that we did business has changed. You know, we would have never been able to connect globally with other entrepreneurs without these amazing platforms that are available to us, right? And we all think we're so different, and yet we're the same. Because, you know, your story is one of over 300 that are on this platform. And I can say with conviction that every single entrepreneur I have spoken to has very similar challenges at different stages in their career or in their entrepreneurial journey. So would you agree that the recalibrating of the GPS sometimes needs the help and guidance of someone outside of our inner circle, like yourself, who can help you sort of pick up on some of the things that they're not, the dots are not connecting?
Yeah, I love the word recalibration. Really love that. I'm going to get a little sciencey for a second. So, when we feel that there's something there, there's a pinch, our egos, and I don't say that in a bad way. Our egos are actually designed to keep us safe
Sure.
and keep us aligned to what's always been familiar. Okay.
Mhm.
So when we go to ourselves or our inner circles to say, like, hey, I have this thing inside me, what's up? And they're like, oh, yeah, it'll pat, because we want to keep you safe, right?
Sure.
Like our egos will quickly say, like, hey, no, it's okay. It's okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. That is why I always recommend, I love also the personal GPS. I'm trained within the guardrails of professional coaching to understand where my place lies between I'm not a therapist and I'm not a mental health professional. I am actually that person that's going to help you pull that thread and take steps toward that if you want to on your timeline. Coming from a place of that's the why, that's the science behind it. Like the ego will literally block us and keep us from doing it until it gets so incredibly uncomfortable, it will cause pain or illness or what have you because you're not addressing it. It's all energy. It's being asked to come in. So I help you let it in without having to, like, again, blow up your whole life.
Sure.
To your point about business models, yes. Okay. So I'm going to get a little woo here for a second. I am a coach that is also certified and trained in energy work. So, understanding when energy is coming in, when something comes into our consciousness, it is asking to be addressed or healed or doing something with it. And again, if you ignore it, nothing's necessarily bad going to happen unless you do it for so long, and it will be led to dis-ease of some sort of disease, illness, things. So when the energy comes in, I help guide you to where's that coming from physically in your body. And we talk about the energy centers, the chakras, like figuring out like what's happening, what's coming in. And the reason I bring that up is because when I talk about energy work, there are two main fundamental energies that from the soul plane are embodied in our human plane: divine feminine, divine masculine. This has nothing to do with gender. I'm going to say it again. Divine feminine, divine masculine has nothing to do with gender. It has to do with the actual energetic on the divine level of creation and of structure. So, really quickly, divine feminine is creation, flow, trust, knowing, intuition. Divine masculine is structure, order,
Process.
action, process. Yeah, like putting the who's, it's, what's, it's in place, right? So you can imagine as saying those in the divine balance, the divine masculine comes in with a structure in place for the divine feminine to come in and to be able to release the creation into the world. Beautiful, gorgeous balance. Yes. What I know to be true, especially about myself, for almost 20 years, I was asked to only be operating in the masculine. It was only the doing, we only cared about the hierarchy, the structure, the order, the money, and to where the power, and to where now it's become toxic. So I don't know that we have a divine masculine in the larger state right now. And I want to reinstate, all humans are harmed by, have been harmed by, and perpetuate the toxic masculine, because in order to survive ourselves, that's how we needed to show up. So
Sure.
imagine when I was, so I'm 42, imagine when I was 35 and I was in this executive place and my divine feminine started calling. Like, I almost think of her as like a, whether it's, I think of Disney movies always. So maybe it's like Elsa coming in, or it's like Pocahontas. Somebody's coming in and singing to me. It's like, come find me. I'm like, who are you? What's going on? This is nothing about what I've been doing all day, every day. And so it took me another 5 years to awaken and get her call, to the point where I did have my own back. I said, today's my last day. Again, I guide humanity, primarily women, to answer the call without having to disrupt everything, because that doesn't feel good. I don't suggest everyone do what I do, but that's what I mean by in business. What I'm seeing is the pandemic did cause a record scratch moment where, like, oh, wow, we cared for everybody. We cared for each other for a minute. You saw incredible movements in humanity. And I don't think that was by accident, like all of the pandemic happening. Not suggesting that I don't feel empathy for the human loss. Of course I do. I'm just saying that that was also like a record scratch moment for humans to be like, what do we want to be doing? What are we doing? And so now what you're seeing, I feel, in 2024 is that there are more and more people, and again, women are being asked to be on the forefront of this change of ushering the divine feminine back in, to say, we can make money and have process and have structure and care about each other. Like, what if we could do both?
Yeah.
And so that's what I feel and experience with a lot of people feeling that pinch right now. I coach men too. The men who are like, I don't like how this feels. We go there, we figure it out. So what I ultimately guide is this creating the balance we've never seen in our lifetimes, because we've only been focused in the masculine energies. And again, nothing to do with men or women. We've all benefited, we've all perpetuated. And so this calling, this pinch that we're all feeling is like, wait, I want to care about people, and I want to make money. Both are true. Both can be true. Allow it to be true. That's the recalibration.
Yeah, and the balance of the two, right? Because when I think of a pendulum. When the pendulum swings too far, that's when it also goes the other way, right? There's a natural cycle of going to the left and to the right. So I use the pendulum as a visual, but we're trying to get into the middle.
Yes,
right?
Middle. Because imagine, I'm like, imagine if we were only in the divine feminine, which might look like floating around all day and like creating only, you're just creating, but there's no outlet to release it.
There's no process to bring it to market.
To bring it to the world. So you're just like creating amazingly, but there's no way to like actually get it into the world. And that's where the balance is as well. So yes, you're right. You can go to either side. No extreme serves anyone.
No, exactly. That's very true. Now, one of the things that we do in the guest blog is we ask folks to share 3 words of advice. And I think that your 3 words are very poignant and a wonderful way to tie up everything that you're doing in terms of unlock your magic and ignite your flame. And your 3 words are, who are you? Is this a question that you ask your clients when you first start to work with them? And why is it important for you and your business?
The first question I will ask is, how's your heart? Because we've gotten into this again. We've gotten into autopilot. So it's like, How are you? Good. How are you? Good. And then you just like launch into the day, whatever you want to, whatever you need.
Yeah.
So when I ask something, how's your heart? Or I might ask, did you poop this morning? Have you had a snack? Have you eaten? Did you sleep well? I'll ask things that actually allow the person to get into their bodies and say, wait a second, how is my heart? Did I sleep well?
It's not a question we usually ask each other, so it's one that kind of takes you back a little bit.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'd say, that those are my, I love who are you? I think also though, when I ask that, everyone's like, I don't know. That's why I'm here.
Yes, and that is so true. I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that question leads them to say to you, "Okay, that's why I'm
That's
on
why,
this call.
that's why I'm with you.
That's why I'm connecting with you." Yeah.
So how's your heart? I will ask, I'm constantly reading energy. So I'm asking questions based on where your energy is allowing me to go. So it's like, hey, those questions become so essential to find the places where, again, your ego or your brain are like, don't go there. You don't need to
Mhm.
go there. Don't do
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
We do that in that coaching space. And so the the words I would, my identity as a life coach, a business owner, head of marketing still for a nonprofit. Um, I'm a healer and I'm a truth teller. So between those two, I am constantly working with your bounds, your energy, your timeline, your space to figure out when you want to feel things or understand things. It comes up when it's supposed to. It is all
Yes.
as it's supposed to. So mine, my 3 words are either how's your heart externally to someone, and mine internally would be truth teller, healer, and integrity, to be able to be the soul, be the person that people trust to go to the places that have not felt safe so far.
Well, I love your credo, and I love the when you go to your website, it almost reminds me of pixie dust, where you sort of have this fanning of color. So I really do believe, Amy, that the thing that you're offering people are helping them answer the question, "Who am I?" So when you say, "Who are you?" It's actually a rhetorical kind of thing. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today, because I think you've given folks things to ask themselves. You've given them permission to take a look at that thread and whether or not they're ready to pull it. And I think that's really an important thing, given all of the things that we've been through in the last few years. And kudos to you for taking the jump from corporate leader to business owner.
Thank you, Trish. I appreciate you. Thanks for the time.
To you, our viewing and listening audience, I'd like to thank you for joining us today for this edition of Keeping It Real, introducing you to the person behind the logo. If you'd like to connect with our guest, you'll find Amy's contact information in the description portion below. I'm Trish Tonai, author, artist, and the founder and host for the series. And if you're interested in sharing your business story, visit our website at shareyourstories.online and subscribe to our channel, Business Mentorship, Keeping It Real. Thanks again for tuning in, and we look forward to meeting you next time when we share another great idea.